Good morning, YouTube. It is currently 3 a.m. Winnipeg Central Standard Time. I said Winnipeg Central Standard Time in Canada, Winnipeg, more specifically. And I decided that it's about time I did a Stitchers Q&A session, and just kind of answer a couple of the questions, that I've had over the years about cross-stitching. The first question I get asked a lot is, what floss do you use? What thread do you use? I am a huge fan of DMC embroidery floss. It's easy to find, it's affordable. I don't buy any of the bulk Walmart brands. I don't buy a lot of the craft floss. The stuff that you buy your kid to make cross-stitch, like friendship bracelets. I don't use that. I find the color bleeds. I find the colors are not nearly as nice as I would like. So I don't bother with those ones. So yes, I use DMC. It is my floss of choice. I find it just has lots of colors and it's great textures and just a gorgeous floss. How do I mark where I am ended? I try to end on a stitch that's easy enough to find. I have a tendency to work a color until I absolutely can't work it any further, or work a thread until I'm out of thread. So I'm not left with a tail when I come back the next day to try to figure out where the heck I left off. This way I can pick up any color I want and start stitching. So I don't bother with that. Now, a common question I get is, how do you work? Do you do the half X and then the full, then the second part, or do you do a full X while you work? Actually, I'm going to answer that by saying both. Primarily, I do full X's, where I'll do the one direction then the other direction right away. I do find that if I'm working on a small kit piece, I'll do one direction and then go back and do it again. But I do find Xing, like the full X, my preferred method. Sorry, counting. Have you ever made a mistake? God, yes. If you haven't done the ribbed, or as everybody likes to call it, the frog maneuver, which is the rip it, you're not a true stitcher. It doesn't matter what you're stitching, be it you're a cross stitcher, be it you are a costume maker or a quilter. If you haven't picked up a seam ripper or used your needle to rip out stitches and try to backtrack, you're not a true stitcher. That's in my personal opinion. Everybody has to have gone through that pain at least once in their life to understand what it is to be a crafter, more specifically a stitcher crafter, because it's just 2, 3, there we go. It's just one of those things that if you haven't done, you just don't get the true aspect of what it is to be a stitcher. So, what do I do with my threads when I've collected a jar? I collect through the year, mostly because I think it's fun to see the colors and the texture it takes on and just how much ends up in there. I've had people ask if there's both my cross-stitch garbage threads or if it's also my sewing. It's just my cross-stitch threads. I don't keep my sewing threads because if I were to keep my sewing thread, I need a bigger jar. I go through a lot of thread for sewing. I'm one of those people who would like the big tails to deal with when I start a new seam or work any of that. So I don't keep my sewing threads. One year I might. just to see how much I create in a year. Some years it's more than others, though. Like the years where it's costume commission after costume commission, I create a lot. So it's hard to say if but well. What projects I'm working on now? Currently I am doing a couple of cosplay projects. I have a huge project in the planning stages, unfortunately, due to the fact that my husband hasn't talked to his family about it yet. I can't reveal what it is. Then there's, of course, my daughter's Epic Pokemon Generation 1 project, although she's already told me that she wants all of the generations done. I keep telling her we don't have wall space for it, so I'll probably be able to get away with just doing the one, and possibly a second set. What do I do with my small pieces when I'm done? Generally, I donate them. As soon as I'm done a smaller piece, I usually end up tossing it in the donation bin and letting it go off to charity and them sell it. Sometimes I put them up for sale on my Etsy or my store if it's an original piece or if it's something fandom related, just so people have a chance to purchase it. Have you ever noticed a mistake after it's gotten to the point where you can't fix it? Yes, all the time. At that point, you just kind of fudge it. You just kind of stitch around it, fix it as you can, create something new. Have I thrown projects out because of mistakes? Yes. Yes, I have. Not the best moments in my world, but I have done that. Okay, starting there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, down 1, up 1, and there we go. Confirm. 1, 2, 3. Yep. How many stitches can I remember? Quite a few. Once I take a look at a pattern, I can typically remember my whole entire line from the point where I put in my first stitch to where I'm supposed to end my stitches, assuming there's other landmarks around it. If there's not, I'm pretty good at counting and keeping that count in my head. How long do I stitch for at any given time? It all depends on how my back is feeling. So that's where it sits. Now, one of the cool questions is about to be answered, and I'm gonna go ahead and answer it in my next video. So thank you for joining me for some of my FAQ, my most commonly asked stitching questions, and I hope to see you around next time. Bye.